is enough fire to keep the house warm during the day.
So, like, I should never go to Café Landmann and say, "Oh, it's too hot in here," because I'm taking for granted the fact that there is heat.
Well, believe it or not, one trivial story about Café Landmann, which is located right across the Parliament.
Yeah.
I think they were so afraid what the waiter heard over all those years working there, they actually gave him a Medal of Honor. Yes, believe it or not, they gave the waiter of the Landmann who worked there for like 20 plus years, 30 plus years, a Medal of Honor for all the sketchy things he probably heard from the politicians.
Well, let's talk about this Café Landmann, because we are in the city of Freud, and it was a very known haunt for him and psychoanalysis of his time. What does that mean in the greater context of Vienna, but also food culture in Vienna?
I mean, Landmann, like the Viennese coffee shop, Landmann more specifically, is like the Viennese version of a French bistro. You have like breakfast, lunch, dinner, late night drinks, this, that. People had their tabs running because either they didn't want to pay or they couldn't pay, and it's a concept. It's a gastronomical concept which I think is harder and harder to execute in days of today, given things have to be fast, things have to be easy, not too refined, but at the same time they have to be understood, and so Landmann, like any old Viennese coffee shop who's still in business today, and there was a big consolidation of coffee shops, is fueled through tourism. And just like areas getting better and better, people having more time to spend there and use them as meeting places.
You know, viennoiserie is that meeting place between bread and pastry.
Absolutely.
And this may blow people's mind.
I grew up in a bakery.
Oh, really?
I grew up in a bakery and a coffee shop. I was before I was a chef, I was a trained baker.
Yeah, and it is this amazing kind of intersection of those two things, and a lot of people might not know that the croissant is...
It's Turkish.
And then they Austria.
They forgot it. They actually, when Vienna stopped the Turks twice, the Ottoman Empire, not the Turks, the Ottoman Empire, and after their retreat, they found two major things, which was coffee, and then the half moon shaped pastry, which that's the reason why the croissant is half moon shaped, and then this viennoiserie, full circle, went then back to the court of France through that connection to be then implemented as the croissant in France and in Paris.
Yeah, and it was cultivated in this wonderful way in Austria, in Vienna, and in these coffee houses. And do you find that same education has to go into something like, a Wiener Schnitzel? I mean, it's nothing but a fried cutlet of meat that's breaded, but it seems like something else. It seems, foreign in the concept of being here in New York and having Wiener Schnitzel. It feels transportive to Vienna. Do you have to educate people what that dish is? And
what seems very simple to food-obsessed people is at times very hard for somebody who has not been around, number one, not that long, meaning like seniority and like just like age spent in a kitchen, or B, also interest. I know people who some of my chefs are very, very young, but they're so into it. They absorb things like sponges, like little kids, and they make a schnitzel after like 3 times. They just like bang it out of the park. And it puffs perfectly, and like the way they treat their flour, their eggs, their breadcrumbs, the way they pound it, how uniform, and so on and so forth. It's just like perfect, and it comes very intuitive. And for some people, it does not come very intuitive. But that's with a lot of things. It's like you being a radio host, like perfect. They're like the intonation, the breaks. It's like a theater. And for some people, it's very easy to like be part of that theater, and for others, it's a lifelong struggle. And then you should not be, I guess, in the kitchen, or you keep on trying. But there's also one beautiful thing about repetition. You can make it better and better every time you make it. Every time you make it, you can improve, and that's what I think cooking or a lot of tasks are. Like, you are a pro tennis player, there's like 4 or 5 different strokes, and you repeat them how many thousands of times until it's perfect, and only a subsequent level of perfection leads to the Grand Slam, so to say. So,
well, on that, we're going to take a quick break and come back and maybe talk about the Grand Slam of Viennese cuisine, schnitzel, spätzle, strudel, and maybe schnapps.
Cool.
Because you have to finish a meal with something.
We have to.
You've been listening to The Food Scene on heritageradionetwork.org. We'll be right back.
Today's program was brought to you by Emmy Cheese, specialty cheese from Switzerland made with heart and passion. Since the early 1900s, Emmy has been a passionate supporter of farmers, cheesemakers, and family tradition. They believe in sustainable agriculture and respect for the people, land, and animals that make their business possible. Remaining dedicated to tradition, they strive to lead the industry in innovation, ensuring they bring you only the highest quality, best tasting cheese from Switzerland. Emmy is best known for importing more than 80% of the Swiss Gruyere into the United States, but that's not to overshadow their other specialty cheeses, including Kaltbach cave-aged cheeses, Der Scharfe Max, Appenzeller, Tête de Moine, and traditional Emmentaler. For more information, visit emmyusa.com.
Welcome back to The Food Scene on heritageradionetwork.org. Here today with Eduard Frauneder. And we were talking about Viennese cuisine and brought up schnitzel, spätzle, strudel, and schnapps, the 4 S's. There are so many interesting and intricate things that happen in Viennese cuisine that are very simple dishes. We were talking about the difference between aristocratic and egalitarian, but really these are very simple, made at home, but also made at restaurant dishes. I don't feel like there's a separation in a lot of these foods.
I mean, yes and no. It's like also level of execution. I mean, like when I opened Seäsonal and we received a Michelin star after 6 months, we did have Spätzle and the schnitzel and the goulash on the menu. It's all a question of execution, and like it's really difficult to reinvent food because the best foods come from the street, from the peasant, from the rural area where people like really know how to go with the season. People know how to treat certain vegetables, proteins, this, that, and the other. So yes, you can say most cooking is simple, but like I think to keep all those moving parts together in the kitchen is the art of, I guess, kitchen management, or just like producing a beautiful dish to order and also like prepping it a certain way. And it's very simple. I mean, like I think as long as it's fresh, seasonal ingredients, well treated and well sourced, that's the first step. But I think it's also one of the most important steps, and that the rest is I guess the art of cooking and the proper execution. But like I know to the outsider, Austrian food can come across as being like overly simplistic, and like they always think it's only meat and potatoes.
Yeah.
And like, you know what, meat and potatoes can be very, very wonderful and very, very soothing, and Wiener Schnitzel is ultimately meat and potatoes. But I don't know a single person who came back from Austria and said not how happy they were with the food. And thank God all my restaurants in New York City, because people are well traveled. You don't have to explain to them anymore the schnitzel, the spätzle, the goulash, and so forth.
Well, coming back from Vienna, the first thing that I wanted to find was a good schnitzel, and I went to Fiegelmüller in Vienna and had their schnitzel, and it's bigger than
childhood memories.
Yeah.
I have childhood memories from the size and the taste of that schnitzel